Hello, welcome to lesson 2 of the Healing Path to Abundance with myself, Louise Hay. So you've got through lesson 1 and you've written that list, and hopefully you've managed to turn them all around by now into positives, and you're ready for the next step in manifesting abundance in your life and allowing it in. And so this lesson is about right livelihood. And so we are all creator spirits. We have a higher self. Our higher self is part of source. Our higher self knows whatever we want from our life. We incarnate as human beings. We are creative forces still, and we can create and experience whatever we want in life. But there's always this higher kind of purpose, this spiritual mission that we have, that our higher self is always pulling us toward. Okay. Luckily for us, when we're incarnated as human beings, we forget pretty much who we are really quickly, and our worth, and that we're creator spirits and all of this. But we are given this guidance system to lead us to where our higher self wants us to be. So this guidance system, which is the higher self drawing us toward it, and our guidance system is showing us that way. And that guidance system is our emotions. And so when something feels good, it's on path. When something feels bad, it's off path. And so if you're ever feeling any negative emotions, any negative feelings about anything, that's showing you that what you're doing, what you're feeling, what you're thinking about, what it is that you're pursuing is not aligned with your higher self. Whereas when you're feeling good about something bringing you joy and happiness, that is your guidance system telling you that you're online, you're aligned with your higher self in whatever it is that you're thinking or feeling, or the direction that you're going in at that particular time. And so this guidance system serves us really well. And so as I said, our higher selves have this spiritual mission, life purpose for us all. And everyone's life purpose is completely unique. There are no two that match each other. We are born with the skills, the passion about certain subjects, with skills that make it easy for us to do certain things and hard to do other things. We're given interests. All of these things are clues as to what your spirit's mission is. And so if you're following what feels good, what feels easy, what makes you feel good, what brings you joy, where your passion lies, then you're going to be acting from the heart. And when you act from the heart and from the spirit, that is when you are giving the most value to the world. Okay? And so your higher self has this hidden agenda, not so hidden agenda really, of getting you to do what it is that you want to accomplish in this lifetime. The universe gives you lessons using the law of attraction in order that you can learn the things that you need to learn, or learn that you're going in the wrong direction when you are, in order that you will find that mission, you'll find that life purpose. And so the reason that this is so important for abundance is that abundance, true abundance, isn't just money. Okay, we said this in the first lesson, I said it in the introduction too. Money isn't abundance. Okay, you probably realised that yourself, but might have thought that money was anti-abundance or something. Abundance it does include money. It includes a lot of other things as well. True abundance is when the universe and the world gives you what you want with ease. Okay? So it's really easy. It comes straight to you with ease. You don't have to struggle for it. You don't have to do something that you don't want to do. If you're doing something that you don't want to do with your life, you're not fulfilling your spirit's purpose, it doesn't feel good, and all you're going to be able to get from that is money. You're not going to be able to achieve abundance with that. And so this is why it's so important for you to follow your spirit's path to this spiritual mission that you have. And so this is what right livelihood's about. One of the lessons that the universe will give you is by using abundance to show you the way. So in other words, I'll give you an example from my experience. I have been in the healing profession now for many years, full time, and I've dabbled in lots of different things, lots of different healing modalities, all have been channeled from my guides, but I've done lots of kind of readings and all sorts of things like that. And whenever I make a decision to offer something in my services that isn't aligned with my higher self, but I am making that decision purely based on bringing more money in rather than delivering my spiritual energy to somebody, even though my spiritual energy will be part of what I'm offering, if my intention is the money rather than an exchange, a pure exchange of energy, then I will get a lesson. And so I've experienced that in the past, is that when I've made, maybe I've been experiencing a little bit too much lack and everything's been a bit of a struggle and I've had enough of it, and I've decided to offer a new kind of reading just to bring in more money, and that will provide me with customers who will give me negative experiences. Okay, so there's something about that reading that's not quite right. It's not really delivering the value that I want it to deliver. The customers may not be so happy with it, or they might complain about the price or anything like that. And so I'm giving lessons to show that it's not on path. That's not on path. It doesn't feel good to do things like that. And similarly, you would have been given these same kind of signs. Also, an experience of mine was when I dwell on issues, and so say, as I was healing my issues, my abundance issues with my family, this time came up where my mom decided to come and stay with me here in Australia. And at the time, Bee Healing was going really well. We were well in profit, and it was all going really well. It was expanding. Other companies were coming to us, wanting to promote us. Big things were happening. It was a really exciting stage for Bee Healing. And then my mum arrived, and straight away, my business took a nosedive. The whole team was saying, "What's going on?" Because my mum reminded me that my self-worth is still on the floor. She came here and reminded me that. And of course, as I was having to deal with that issue, I was getting the results of that issue being in my immediate focus. And so abundance took a nosedive. And so abundance is used in this way, or money is used in this way, as a tool from the universe to show you whether you're going in the right direction or not. It's important to note that abundance flows, that it's not always constant, that it will go like that, it will go up and down, depending on the energy that you're giving out. And so what I mean by that is the manifestation process goes like this. You desire something, or you have a new idea, or you want to expand in some kind of way, and you start feeling really good about that, you're feeling that you want to do that, and you'll get this inspiration, these ideas of what to do, and you start actioning it, and then you get the results from it. And the money, the abundance, comes at the results stage. And it's only when you want to expand further that you'll start that process again. And what can happen is when you start the process again, your abundance that's kind of been steady or went up will come down again, because you're going for a new process. And so abundance needs to be shown to you with that new process too. Each time you're expanding, but the universe is just using abundance in order to show you where that energy flow is going. And so it's quite natural for it to go up and down like that. And so don't be worried about that. The important thing is to know that unless you are following the path, your life purpose path, you're not going to experience abundance, because it is completely linked with it. It's completely linked with it. You cannot experience abundance by struggling. You can't experience abundance by doing something that you don't like. You can't experience abundance by doing something that you're not putting your heart and soul into. What you're doing that's not putting your spirit into it. because you're not delivering your true value. You're not expressing yourself. You're not expressing that divine spark that we all have in ourselves. We're not expressing that gift that really needs to be shared. Now, abundance doesn't wait until some kind of end goal. There isn't an end goal. We're constantly expanding. We're constantly growing. There's no end point where suddenly abundance is going to be there and you won't want to do anything anymore. We're constantly growing and abundance is growing with us. There's no end to this process. So you thought that this was going to end with the last lesson, but it's not going to. It's going to carry on, and it's always going to carry on, because there's always more things that our spirit will want of us as we're experiencing it. And so no matter how big the healing gets for me, no matter how many of these programs I'm doing, or the new retreats and big public speaking, no matter how big it gets, there's always going to be desires for further challenges, because we're spiritual beings, we're creative beings. This is what we want to do. And so the important thing is to be on the path, to be following where your passion is, to be following your joy, follow your bliss. Be selfish. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody's going to put that path in front of you and drag you on it. You're doing it yourself, and your higher self is outside of you, or up there in source, if that's how you kind of imagine things being. And it can only ever come from within you. And so it's so important to not even know what it is that you want to do, but just to have the intention to follow that path and start making decisions based on whether something makes you feel good or not. And that might sound, if you're not doing that, that might sound really hedonistic, but really that is your guidance system. You're not here to be miserable or to struggle or to experience lack. You're here to experience expansion and pouring your gift out. And so abundance and your life purpose are so entrenched in each other. They can't be separated from each other. And so it's really important to follow this life path. As I said, it only matters that you're on it. And so your higher self is up here, pulling you toward it. Your human self is here, and you're gradually going towards it, making all these decisions, creating different things, and you're on the way. Being on the path is always required for abundance. You don't have to achieve anything in particular, you just need to be on the path. And so what I want you to do for the homework this time is I want you to get another piece of paper, or you might want to have like a book for all of this this work that you're doing, a special notebook, so that you can write all of these things down, and so you can revisit all of these processes again and add to it if you want to do that. This time I want you to write down all of the things that you enjoy. I want you to write down what your passions are. If you're having trouble with this, then I want you to connect in with your inner child. Have a conversation with that little girl or that little boy that you were, and ask them what they were really into, what they wanted to be when they grew up, what they really enjoyed, what came easily to them. So write down what comes easily to you. You're not here to focus on the things that you're not very good at and improve them. If we were all here to do that, we'd just turn into this big homogenized society of people, which is kind of happening anyway, because people are being taught to do that. We're here to focus on what we're good at. That's our guidance system to tell us which way we want to go in, which way our spirit wants us to go in. So write these things down. What are you good at? What comes easily to you? These are all clues. And the further you get on your spirit's path, the more you're going to realize that every single thing that you've done, every skill that you've picked up is going to be, it's like a little big piece of the jigsaw puzzle, or the bigger picture in the end. There is absolutely nothing that you do in your life that isn't a part of that bigger picture in the end. And for me, even though I went to university and I took engineering, okay? So engineering, you would think that has nothing to do with healing work. I took it because it was something new for me, and I needed like stimulus. I needed something new in order to stay focused for 3 years, to learn something like that. It was a challenge because it was a hard degree to do. But what it gave me, looking back now, is the metaphysical knowledge of materials. I did materials engineering. It gave me that metaphysical knowledge of the of knowing how the universe can form itself depending on our focus. Okay, so I learned those kind of things while I was there, and it gave me the background to be able to understand how the universe works, and to give me more of a kind of a background of, um, of how this feeling works and how we manifest things. And so then I went into IT for 8 years. I worked in corporate IT. I was working in a corporation, and I was building computer systems. And you might think that that's got nothing to do with healing work either, but I started Be Healing by myself. I didn't employ anyone to do my websites, and I've done all the technical stuff myself too. It allowed me to grow this whole and go down this Be Healing path of letting it evolve and grow, because I had the technical knowledge to be able to put everything in place every time I had inspiration or guidance from my guides. And so that skill and experience served me well, even though at the time I thought it was just purely negative and it's not what I wanted to do. And it also gave me the money to be able to start up in business when I first arrived here, or it gave me the skills that Australia wanted, so that I could move here, and so that I was accepted with my residency and now citizenship. It gave me a bit of money to be able to move over here as well and get set up when I got here. And so everything that you do and you have done, is a part of that jigsaw puzzle. And you don't need to be able to see the whole picture now. You don't need to know where you're going. You just need to be committed to the path and moving forward in every way, listening to your inner guidance of what makes you feel good. And so writing this list, all the things that you're good at, all the things you enjoy, what you're passionate about, what you choose to do with your time when you're not working. Some of you might be fortunate enough already to be on that life path, and so this is just about fine-tuning and making sure that you're not doing anything that you don't enjoy doing. And so that's really important, is don't do anything that you don't enjoy doing. An experience for me was when I started Be Healing, and I realised it was going to be much bigger than anything I'd ever done before, abundance-wise. The money scared me. The money side of things scared me. I hadn't dealt with like GST and tax and things like that before, because I'd always been just an individual earning, doing my healing work and earning by myself, whereas this was a bigger company. This needed those things in place, which I didn't know anything about. I was completely out of my depth with it. I didn't want to look at it at all. It scared me, and so I employed an accountant to do it all for me, which was really interesting, because he told me things about my business that I hadn't realised. And he helped me in many ways. But there came a time where, and so it was important for me to do that. It was important for me not to do the money side of things while I was uncomfortable with it. There came a point in time where I was guided that I had to take control of it, that I needed to do it myself in order to know where I was with the business, and in order to take control of my finances and really get on top of things and know where I am with it. Because avoiding it was just being scared of it, and when you're scared of something, it runs away from you. And so I could not manifest more abundance by being scared of it. And so now I'm doing it, and it's not a big deal now. I'm not so scared of it anymore, and it's not a big deal doing my accounts. I had my accountant set something up so to make it easier for me to do that. And so this is important. Do the things that you really enjoy doing. Don't do the things that you don't find interesting doing or don't enjoy doing. Give it to somebody else. Let somebody else do what they really enjoy doing for you. It's amazing. It seems amazing to me that there's people out there that enjoy doing accounts, but there are, because it's just so not enjoyable to me doing tax or accounts. But I've met some people that are so passionate about accountancy, and so much so that they're kind of counting all the time. I'll be doing readings for them or healings, and I can see that they're counting constantly. The passion is numbers. That's where their passion is, and that's what they do. And so let others do what brings them joy too. Don't try and do everything yourself. If you're trying to do everything yourself, you're coming from a place of lack. When you come from a place of lack, all you can manifest is lack. You can't expect other people to want your services and what you're doing, what you really enjoy doing, if you're not letting them do what they enjoy doing. So when you respect everyone else to be on their spiritual paths and doing what they enjoy doing, then everyone else is going to appreciate yours too, and let you do that, and want you to do that for them as well. And so again, you're writing these things down, you're writing what you enjoy doing, you're writing your passions down, you're writing what your inner child told you wanted to do. These are all clues. Write down the things that, the positive aspects of any job that you've done. So there's always positives and negatives to everything we've done. What we do, we get our first job and we think, oh yeah, there's a lot of it that I want, but there's a lot of it that I don't want in there. And then we might give that up and go into another job and there's a bit more of what we want in there, but then there's new things that we don't want in there. All the time we're kind of refining our search, we're picking out more of the things that we want and less of the things that we don't want. And so you're just following this process, just refining your search, getting more and more into what it is that you do want. As I said, it's important to be selfish. It's important to know that you deserve it, that no one else is going to do it for you, that you need to take control of this. You're manifesting it, you're the creative spirit, you're going to create it for yourself, no one else is going to do that for you. You are not empowering anybody by holding yourself back. You cannot empower anybody by trying to do things for them, and you can't empower yourself by thinking that you need to take care of other people instead of yourself. It just doesn't happen. Everybody has their own internal guidance system. The best way that you can help other people is by following yours. The example is worth millions times you trying to help somebody else. Not just your example, but even people that don't even see you or have the experience of you are benefited by you following that spiritual path. It's the 100 monkey thing. You know, it's like if you are pursuing that, you're strengthening the solution up there in collective consciousness and source. And so that when somebody else wants to find it themselves, they won't be so lost because they're going to be able to tap into that because we're all connected, we're all one. We all have access to this source guidance, and the more you do, even if people don't physically see you or are aware of you, you're going to have a positive impact on them and they're going to be able to do the same thing. And so don't feel like you're taking away from anybody at all in accepting abundance or in following what you truly enjoy. Another thing is important to know with this is that the universe always balances things out. And so you might think, well, if everyone's doing what they love, then everyone's going to be pretty lazy and not much is going to get done, and nobody's going to clean the toilets because I'm not going to clean the toilets, and it's important to know that that's just not true. There are people that clean toilets that pour their heart and soul into it. There are people that really want to do that, and everything will get done because the universe has this way of balancing it out, that if everyone's doing what they love doing, then everything will get done and we'll just be able to procreate amazing things together. And so don't think that you're taking away from anyone else by following that, or that you're going to miss out on anything because of that. Everything will get done. And so what brings you joy? Where's your passion? What are you passionate about? What are you interested in? Look at what you would want to create in the world, okay? And so for me, like, I have this huge desire to create this system in the world, and probably not even in my lifetime, but I hope it happens. But I have this strong desire for this to happen. It's that everyone who has an emotional or a physical or manifestational kind of a problem in their lives, don't go to a doctor. Okay, doctors don't exist in this reality that I'm desiring, because they're not needed. People will go to somebody, a Be Healing. Okay, so they'll go to a Be Healing practitioner instead, no matter what it is that they're not being able to manifest or release. No matter what's showing up in their life, they'll go to them and they'll learn what the real reasons are behind it. And that will allow people to release things from the source, which is emotional or spiritual, and move forward and manifest what they want. And in that way, we'll have this amazing co-creative kind of a world where people are just performing at the best all the time. And so that's my big, not so much goal, but that's what I desire to happen. And whether I achieve it or not, that's another thing. But my desire is that. And so it's important to tap into things like that. What are your real desires? Even if it's beyond, you think it's beyond your ability to do, what are your desires? What would you do if you could be paid to do anything? It's important when you're doing this exercise and writing down all those things that you like and these clues as to what direction you should go in. It's important to know that there are no limitations. The only limitations in this process are in your mind. And so you might say, well, I really enjoy surfing. Okay, I really enjoy surfing, but that's not going to pay. I need to be really good for that to pay. And so that's just a pipe dream. That's not going to happen. You might start convincing yourself out of things like this. And let me tell you, my desire was to work from home and help people to heal, and I'm doing it full time, and I'm fulfilled, and I'm experiencing abundance. And there was a time in my life in my 20s where I thought that it was impossible to do that, that it just wouldn't be possible. I'd have to do something that I didn't really enjoy. I'd have to add something to it to provide the money on the back of it, that I wouldn't really receive the money that I wanted from what I did. And it was only when I released that belief that I could actually move forward and actually start doing my healing work and doing it full time. So I didn't try to manifest money another way and not accept money for the stuff that was really valuable, the stuff that was coming right from my soul and my spirit. And so it's important to release limitations. And so don't think about what's possible, what's not possible. If you want to fly, if you want to be able to flap your arms and fly, and that's your biggest desire, then write it down. The limitations are being released all of the time. The limitations, they're only in our minds. And just as when somebody runs faster, so then straight afterwards other people can run as fast as that too, or faster, and so it goes. As soon as someone breaks a boundary or a limitation, then that limitation is kind of broken for a lot of people, and then they can do more than that. And you can see with technology, for instance, the mobile phones that we have now, tiny with computers. I mean, if somebody broke that limitation to be able to create that, and many people before that would have had that limitation in their head and just wouldn't have been able to do it. And so don't decide what can be done, what can't be done, what you can achieve, what you can't achieve. You're a creative spirit. It doesn't matter if it's you that's achieving it or you're helping other people to achieve it. The desire is the important thing. So really let your imagination run wild with this. What do you want to do in life? What is your message? What do you want to give to the world? And know that you can have that. In fact, your abundance lies there and nowhere else. And so once you've written this list, I just want you to really go through it again and again and know that that's your direction, that's your guidance. And keep this list going as well. Add to it as things come apparent to you, as you remember things. If you go through this process and you really can't remember what you want to do, if you're if you've been in a job for so long that you've kind of joined this homogenized society machine and you've lost touch with what your spirit wants for you, just focus on the little things. Focus on the lifestyle that you want. What kind of lifestyle, what would suit you? Like for me, working from home and being able to take time off when I feel my energy is a bit depleted, and be able to go for a walk on the beach when I feel like, and help people, but not have my timetable too constricted. That works really well for me, and that's what I've manifested for myself. When I first moved to Byron Bay, I'd had a desire when I was on holiday years before that in Spain, and I was in the ocean. I said to my friend, if I could get in the ocean every day, that would make me really happy. And I'd completely forgotten about that wish, and that wish came true for me. I had another desire too when I started to stop wearing shoes and feel the earth, like have grounding and feel the earth underneath my feet, and was feeling its spiritual benefit from that. And I had this desire. I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could work barefoot in what I do? And when I moved to Australia, one of the first things I did was I became a scuba dive guide, And so I was taking people scuba diving, and one day I was working on the boat or packing things up, and I remembered this wish that I'd had years ago that it would be really nice to work barefoot, and I realised that I'd manifested that and being in the ocean every day. And so don't put limitations on it, just put it all down. You don't need to see what the big picture is, you don't need to see how you can heal in the ocean with, you don't need to piece it together. The universe is going to do that for you, and you're going to be breaking ground. As I said, everybody's higher self life mission, spiritual mission is unique, completely unique. We're going to be breaking ground. What I'm doing is completely new to what anyone else is doing. What you will be doing is completely unique to what anyone else is doing. Don't try and copy anyone else. Do your own thing. Be you. Let your spirit pull forward. And the more that you do this, the more you'll get used to doing this. The more it will work for you. You'll get the kind of results that you want from it. You'll get the joy, the fulfillment, the freedom, and the abundance. You're going to be abundance from it too. And so, there you go. That's the end of the second lesson. Just keep that list with you, and just keep it there to remind you, and remind yourself that you should make decisions based on whether it makes you feel good or not, because that shows you which direction to go in. And before you know it, you're going to be getting clear messages, clear opportunities are going to turn up to show you exactly how to lead you there. And as long as you just keep on following each step as it comes along, then you're going to be led to exactly where you need to be and doing exactly what you need to do, and abundance will be found there too. Thank you for listening, and once you've completed this list and are feeling really happy with it and have set the intention to follow that path now, then watch the next lesson. Thank you, bye.